My name is Tim, and my neighborhood is about as exciting as watching paint dry. Every house looks the same, everyone knows your business, and my life is a loop of school, homework, and failed attempts to convince my parents that video games count as exercise. My best friend moved away, so now it's just me, my bike, and my own shadow. Most days I ride around hoping something interesting will happen, but it never does. That is, until the day I pass the old Miller house, empty, overgrown, and usually ignored. But on this particular day, I heard a tiny sound that made me slam on my brakes. At first, I thought I was imagining things. My brain invents excitement when I'm bored, but then I heard it again. A tiny, high-pitched yip from the bush. Curiosity took over. I crawled closer, feeling like an explorer in a jungle. Peering through the leaves, I saw two brown eyes blinking back at me, a shivering caramel-colored puppy. He looked lost and scared, and when he licked my fingers, I knew I couldn't leave him. I'd always wanted a dog, but my mom's allergies and my dad's responsibility lectures made it impossible. Still, I couldn't walk away. That's when I realized my boring Tuesday was about to get a lot more interesting. Now I had a puppy, a lost wiggly puppy I named Waffles. I couldn't bring him inside, so I set up a secret base in the garage with a blanket and water. Operation Find the Owner was on. I searched the neighborhood, calling out for anyone missing a puppy, but nobody was looking. Mrs. Gable just warned me about strangers, and everyone else ignored me. After an hour, I had nothing. No owner, no clues. Back in the garage, Waffles was asleep, looking so small and helpless. I realized I couldn't give up. He was counting on me. Operation Find the Owner had to work. The next step in my top-secret puppy rescue operation: lost puppy posters. I knew if I wanted to find Waffles' real family, I had to let the whole neighborhood know he was missing. So, armed with a stack of homemade flyers, a roll of tape, and my best detective hat, I set out on my mission. Every telephone pole, mailbox, and street corner became my canvas. I felt like a real-life detective, leaving clues for everyone to see. My drawing of Waffles wasn't exactly a masterpiece. It looked more like a potato with legs and a tail. But I was proud of it. I made 10 copies, each one carefully colored in with my favorite crayons. I taped them up all over the neighborhood, hoping someone would recognize him. Every time I stuck a poster to a wall, I imagined someone seeing it and calling to say they'd found Waffles' family. The wind tried to blow a few away, but I chased them down, determined not to lose a single clue. The grocery store was the trickiest part. I had to sneak past Mr. Grumbles, the store manager who always seemed to be watching. My heart pounded as I tiptoed down the aisles, clutching my flyer. When he turned his back, I quickly pinned my poster to the bulletin board, then ducked behind a display of cereal boxes. I felt like a secret agent on a mission, and I couldn't help but grin as I made my escape. After my poster mission was complete, I made my way home as the sun dipped below the rooftops. The sky was painted with orange and pink, but I barely noticed. My mind was racing with worry. What if no one called? What if Waffles' family never saw the posters? I sat alone in the garage, the quiet making my worries feel even bigger. I kept glancing at the phone, hoping it would ring. To cheer myself up, I pulled out a piece of beef jerky I'd secretly taken from the kitchen and offered it to Waffles. He wagged his tail and gobbled it up, crumbs falling everywhere. Watching him eat made me smile. I realized I was really starting to like this little guy, a lot more than I expected. He looked up at me with those big, hopeful eyes, and I felt a warm, fuzzy feeling in my chest. But keeping Waffles a secret was getting harder every day. I had to sneak around, making sure no one saw him or heard his tiny barks. Every time the garage door creaked or footsteps came close, my heart would race. I knew I couldn't keep this up forever, but I also couldn't give up on helping him. The secret felt heavy, but I was determined to see it through. I promised myself that no matter what happened, I would do everything I could to help Waffles. He was counting on me, and I wasn't going to let him down. I felt braver than I ever had before, like I could take on anything as long as I had Waffles by my side. This was the most exciting, nerve-wracking, and important thing that had ever happened to me. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for now, I was ready for whatever adventure came next. The phone never rang. I snuck food to Waffles, sat with him in the garage, and barely slept, worrying about what to do next. The next morning, Waffles greeted me with a wagging tail and a mess to clean up. I was running out of ideas and beef jerky. Posters hadn't worked, and my secret was bound to be discovered. I felt stuck, but Waffles rested his head on my knee, as if telling me not to give up. That's when I noticed something hidden in his fur. A collar. As I gently parted the soft fur around the little dog's neck, my fingers brushed against something cool and smooth. There, hidden beneath the fluff, was a blue collar, worn but sturdy, with a tiny bone-shaped tag dangling from it. My heart skipped a beat. This was more than just a collar. It was a clue, a secret waiting to be discovered. I carefully unclipped the tag, curiosity bubbling up inside me. What would it say? Was this the answer to the mystery of where this sweet dog had come from? I turned the tag over in my palm, squinting to read the tiny letters engraved on its shiny surface. There it was, clear as day. Barnaby, and just below it, Elm Street Gardens, number 12. My mind raced as I traced the letters with my thumb. This wasn't just any lost dog. He had a name, and he had a home. Suddenly, the pieces of the puzzle started to fit together. So, Waffles, my secret companion for the past few days, was actually Barnaby. The name felt strange and new, but it suited him. And now, with an address in hand, I realized that Barnaby wasn't just a stray who'd wandered into my life. He belonged to someone, and that someone was probably missing him very much. Elm Street Gardens. I pictured the place in my mind, a brand new retirement community just across the park from my house. I'd seen it before, with its neat lawns and rows of cheerful flowers, and friendly people waving from their porches. It was only a short bike ride away, but to Barnaby, it must have seemed like a world apart. Suddenly everything made sense. Barnaby must have slipped out, maybe chasing a squirrel or following an interesting scent, and gotten lost in the maze of streets and smells. He'd found his way to me, but now I knew where he truly belonged. I looked down at him, his big eyes trusting and hopeful, and felt a mix of happiness and sadness. I knew what I had to do. I found a sturdy cardboard box and lined it with a soft towel, then gently lifted Barnaby inside. He curled up, tail wagging, as if he understood this was an important journey. I set the box in my bike basket, making sure he was safe and comfortable, and took a deep breath. It was time to set off for Elm Street Gardens and bring Barnaby home. As I pedaled down the street, the wind in my hair and Barnaby's nose poking out of the box, I felt a swirl of emotions. I was excited to solve the mystery and do the right thing, but I couldn't help feeling a little sad too. Barnaby had become my secret friend, my partner in adventure, and now I would have to say goodbye. We shared a quiet moment together before reaching the retirement community. I hugged him close, whispering that he'd always be my friend, no matter what. I knew this was the right thing to do, even if it meant letting go. With each step toward Elm Street Gardens, I felt a little braver. I carried Barnaby in his box, my heart pounding with pride and a touch of sadness. I was about to return him to the place and people he loved. Doing the right thing isn't always easy, but I knew in my heart that bringing Barnaby home was the best adventure of all. As I pedaled down the familiar streets toward Elm Street Gardens, the late afternoon sun cast long shadows on the pavement. Barnaby, nestled comfortably in my basket, looked up at me with trusting eyes, his little tail wagging every time we hit a bump. I couldn't help but feel a surge of pride, like I was on a secret mission, and Barnaby was my loyal sidekick. The wind in my hair, the gentle jingle of my bike bell, and the weight of responsibility in my chest made me feel like a real hero, even if just for a day. When I finally reached Building 12, my heart was pounding so loudly I was sure Barnaby could hear it. I hopped off my bike, took a deep breath, and pressed the doorbell, hoping I'd found the right place. The door creaked open, and an elderly woman appeared. Her eyes widened in disbelief, then sparkled with joy as she spotted Barnaby peeking out from the basket. "Barnaby!" she cried, her voice trembling with relief. She scooped him up, hugging him so tightly I thought he might disappear into her arms. The reunion was so heartfelt. I felt a lump in my throat. She explained, with tears in her eyes, that Barnaby had slipped out when she went to get the mail. She'd searched the block, calling his name, but her legs couldn't carry her far. The worry had weighed on her all afternoon, and she'd feared the worst. Grateful beyond words, she tried to press a crumpled bill into my hand as a reward, but I shook my head, telling her that seeing Barnaby safe and sound, back where he belonged, was more than enough for me. Her smile said it all. Sometimes kindness is its own reward. As I rode home, the basket felt strangely empty without Barnaby's warm presence. But my heart was full. The golden light of sunset painted the quiet streets, and I realized I'd done something meaningful, something that mattered. I thought about how a simple walk in the park had turned into an unexpected adventure. I'd taken responsibility, faced a challenge, and made a difference in someone's life. That feeling stayed with me, long after the ride was over. Suddenly, my neighborhood didn't seem so dull or ordinary anymore. The streets I'd biked 100 times before now felt alive with possibility, each corner holding a story I'd never noticed. I realized that adventure isn't always about faraway places or daring feats. Sometimes it's right outside your door, just waiting for you to notice it and to answer the call when it comes.